The ModernJeeper Show, the show about Jeeps, Jeeping, and Jeepers.
Well, hey, Modern Jeepers, is another episode of the Modern Jeeper Show with me, Matson from MetalCloak, and yes, Mr. Modern Jeeper Corey Osborne.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Rockstar G Girl Jessy.
Hi, Matson.
Hi, you finally come back and join me. You've been leaving me alone for the last 3 weeks.
Right? Yeah, we had you.
Kinda getting
You were out
lonely.
there just doing your thing, and of course we've been out here in Florida doing our thing too. So
Yeah, I know. Where you at? That looks beautiful. Where you at there?
we are just outside of a place called Christmas, Florida, at our friend Ricky Ortiz with Jeepers Den. We are staying at his compound, off and on for a couple of days. We've been pretty busy. We actually just got back this morning here. We actually went up to Jacksonville and hit our friends up at Brad up at Overbuilt Customs. Made our way to the other side over by Tarpon Springs, which is over near Tampa, and our friend Steve over at Bestop Road, and then Ron at Red Scorpion was last night, and then we were about 3 hours getting back over here to this side because we have Jeepers Den coming up on Thursday, probably Thursday evening when everybody pulls up this podcast.
Nice. Well, awesome. Well, that's great. So if you guys are out there, head on over. I did notice that Ricky posted something about a discount or something like that for anybody, which I think is cool when you do it actually at a CTI event. You know, I think many times your shops will do that. They'll offer a little bit of a discount during the show. Something we allow them to do. They can't.
Right.
Our permission.
We apologize for the we have an aviary in here. We've got some birds and some dogs and some things. And
I the sound of birds is great. And actually, I mean, if you're just listening to this, but look at the fact that the background they have, they're in an aviary, they're actually in like an outdoor, what do they call that? A sunroom.
yeah, sunroom. Yeah,
Sunroom.
everybody has a screened in area for their pools here.
Oh, wow. Nice. How's the pool? Is it nice? Perfect to go swimming in right now?
It's cold,
It's cold?
but it's hot here. It's 88 degrees, but and Ricky does have a heater for the pool, but it is not on because it needs to be
Whoa.
refreshing, right? But it's a little chilly.
You need to do the plunge. So I've been doing CrossFit now. This will be my 3rd week doing CrossFit.
Oh wow!
And getting up at 5 a.m. and to be there by 6, so I can get it done 6 to 7 CrossFit. And the first thing I do when I'm done, because I have to take a shower before I go in, and I've been doing the cold shower, pure cold. Now I will admit, I haven't done the full body. Like I'm starting with just the head, partly because I sweat so much when I work out that I need to stop the sweat flow, right? But I'm putting my head directly under just the ice cold water coming out, and and just kind of getting the body to realize, and what it comes down to is your body goes, oh yeah, I'm not going to die of frozen water, right? So
Right.
the refreshingness of that is incredible.
Well, it's very healing. It's very healing, the cold water after working out thing.
Yeah, the big plunge. Now the next step will be to get the tub and just be like doing the ice bath.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, I can do it. I'm afraid that if I go in and do it, I was gonna prep these guys the next time I actually go in there and decide to do a full body one. Like, if you hear a scream from the shower, it's just me getting cold.
Help me.
Don't need to come help me. I'm not freaking out. I'm not being a little girl. Just freaking out.
Yeah,
So-
I've got a stack of a couple hundred here of
Wow.
CTIs that this is while we've just been in Florida.
Wow.
There's been a couple of course jobber stops as we've made our way across the country, but yeah, a lot of Jeepers out and about. And we finished up with JeepBeats last week and had a great turnout. Interesting weather. I mean, Florida, everybody's had interesting weather, it seems.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I mean, it's still. I mean, it rained over the weekend here, and April showers as usual, but it rained over the weekend, and then all of a sudden it's back to being like warm and hot. It was hot. All of a sudden it was cold over the weekend with my son's birthday on Saturday, and then it's starting to ramp back up. But with CTI, with those couple hundred CTIs and doing this, what CTI trends are you seeing this year?
It's interesting. We're seeing a lot of stuff where guys are actually doing the work themselves. And we're seeing some issues here and there, which I think social media wise, you'll probably start seeing some little reels and stuff pop up where we've come across some things that I think are important. But trend wise, I mean, we're probably not seeing the wider rigs as much as we were. Of course, we're kind of paying more of attention to that as we've
telling
limited
more people.
Yeah, we limited some of our widths, but really, I think that I don't know. Trend wise, we're not seeing really tall stuff. We're not seeing 6+ inch lifts really, and I think that has to do, of course, with Jeep's technology in the JLs and on the Gladiators, where you can have an aftermarket fender and open up your wheel well and actually still fit a pretty big tire in there on a fairly mild lift. So
the trends I've been seeing, but it's been going downhill probably about a year or a little more, or no more light bars.
No more
It's
light
the
bars.
biggest thing that I see.
Yeah. Well, for all of our followers saw my recent acquisition from Nacho. So I'm not doing light bar, but I'm doing 6 lights across the bar.
Oh yeah, there you go.
See?
I like the old style.
The old style round pods, right?
Yeah,
that's what we're
and
saying.
That's what everybody's running. I mean, even on the A pillar, even on the front of Jeeps, we're not seeing a whole lot of real connected bars. I think everybody wants that universality of having options.
So what's our buddy at Aerolids going to do if people are running light bars?
Yeah, he's got other things going.
I think he's pretty busy doing other stuff.
Busy.
Yeah.
I do like Quadratec's light though, that stealth light that goes inside,
inside
right above the windshield there. I think that's cool. I think it's a nice way of doing it.
They got my Nacho lights on too, so hopefully we'll get the rest on and get them wired. We just haven't had time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got these lights. We did the whole unveiling, and now I'm taking it over to Cloakworks and say, figure it out.
Yeah.
Although I don't want to just put them into the auxiliary, because I figured, I want to have Clearwater lights, which one of our guys here has some from Clearwater Lights, which I think is a Holly owned company now. They have the dimmer system,
right?
Right. So I want to kind of do something, but I'm thinking I can't just, like, the original thought was put them in and just plug them into the auxiliary switches on the JT. But I'm thinking I'm going to probably get an S pod or something like that, so we have more control over them. And I want to do like the 4 center lights is one, 2 outer lights is another, and then the 2 cowl lights. So it's really 8 lights, but it's
and now each light has so most lights anymore either have a backlight function or a high version and a low version. Those are all separate switches. So it's great that Jeep gave us 4 in the thing, but you can one set of lights, you can take up 3 of those switches just with one set of lights.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing, trying to get it all set up. So I think like getting an S pod with a nice little controller. What's their newer version? That's kind of the
they have a Bantam X now. They even have an app that you don't have a panel inside the Jeep. It's all on your phone. I think you ought to do the work yourself though.
No, that would be great. It'll get done sometime in 2026. I think I can schedule it. That's why I have a Cloakworks 4x4.
There you go. I while I'm thinking about it, the last time we did a podcast, which was a while back, I know it was like it's been 3 weeks or so since we've been back to our regular features, but I had made a comment after Moab about the new Hurricane engine, and I got blasted from a couple of folks who said, hey, once again, we're uninformed and we don't know what we're talking about. And I guess I needed to preface what I said about that engine not being a production engine, was that it's not a production engine in the Wrangler or the Gladiator. It is a production engine. It is an option on the Grand Wagoneers. And I guess in my mind, I only think kind of, when I think Jeep, I just think Wrangler and Gladiator. I don't really think of all the other models that are out there. And I did a little clarification on our YouTube channel and some texts and stuff. And some people had said, hey, no, they're making that engine. Yeah, they are. It's just in the Grand Wagoneer. If we ever see it in the JL or in the Gladiator JT, will be an issue.
And to your defense, I mean, the reality is that's where it was promised.
Right.
It wasn't these big discussions. Well, we're going to put in the Grand Regular. No, the thing, the promise was it was going to be the new engine, the new standardized engine
Right.
for the Wrangler and the Gladiator, and it isn't. So that's, really that's the reality. It's not in production within our realm. Because
Right.
who really cares? Who really cares about a Grand Wagoneer except for Hertz? I mean,
Yeah, right.
I mean, nobody else
Uber
owns these
X
things.
and-
They're all owned by the rental companies.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really nice vehicle at 110 grand. It'll be interesting. Maybe at some point, people will be able to buy that as a crate engine, and there'll be some conversions or something that take place. But
That would be
yeah,
cool.
I just wanted to say that because some folks were kind of upset with me, and I apologize for my misinformation.
We love all of our listeners, but come on,
Right?
don't get upset. Get happy. Share. Help us learn. You can be a guest on the show if you're an expert.
That's right.
That's right. Here, I'll give you the mic for the day.
Yeah, come on. We'll get your email address, log in.
It may all end up on the cutting room floor, but I'll give you the mic. So, okay, so you obviously been whirlwind. People have been following you, and again, if you're following, you want to follow the CTI Tour. We got the Facebook page, MetalCloak CTI Tour. You got the Instagram page, CTI Tour. You've got a Twitter page. You have a Twitter page, right? MetalCloak CTI Tour.
Yep.
You've got so there's all the social media to follow to be able to see where they're at, what they're doing, how they're doing. And you can always just reach out directly too, because we just have so much going on. But it's cool. I mean, there's a lot of CTIs happening.
And we also have had a ton of questions about, because I put as kind of the pages have a picture, a little snapshot of the map, and there's some internal information on that map, some little points on it and whatnot, and people are asking, hey, it looks like you're going to stop at such as, you know what? We've made no real quote unquote promises as to where we're going to next. That map was kind of as a reference of the places that we're probably going to head through at some point. Whether or not we stop with the CTI Trader, that we've been pretty good about keeping the schedule up in front. But right now we're kind of at the end of our Florida wrap up. We've got another week out here. We're going to be over at Panama Beach over at Florida's Jeep Jam event. That starts next
15th.
Next Tuesday.
The birds are pissed off at you right now.
Yeah, the birds are they're telling us all about it.
They don't like Panama.
Apparently.
So we'll be over in Panama next Tuesday, and then for the remainder of that event, and then we have our Moab adventure coming up, which is 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks away, something like that.
Yeah. The last adventure under the Moab, under the ModernJeeper brand.
That's right.
Yeah, doesn't mean it's the last adventure. It's just the last. And Aaron keeps reminding me of this, like, it's not our last adventure. You're right. It's not our last adventure. It's just the last ModernJeeper adventure under that brand.
That's right.
Because things are changing, guys. They're getting better. We always get better.
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And just keep building it up. So those of you calling Corey and going, man, what do you mean the last one? Like, what happened? They're putting you out to pasture?
Everything okay?
He's not that old yet. We don't need to
yet.
put him out to pasture yet.
I'm not done yet.
He's got a few thousand more miles on him, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah. So after that, then we have the Artemis Rally, which is the all-girls adventure up in North Carolina that Jessy and Alicia, Ricky's wife, are going to compete in. Man,
so do they love your Jeep?
It's hard to look at a calendar and go, okay, we got to.
What are we doing in June again?
Yeah, where are we at? What are we doing? But it's all good.
So does Alicia love your Jeep? Is she getting excited to be be in it?
As far as I know, she does. She as long as it's not hot pink, even though I put hot pink shackles on it.
Yellow and hot pink. That's pretty good color.
Getting a lot of attention. I did get one of my friends stopped by at Red Scorpion, Mary. She came to take pictures and video of us doing the CTI at Red Scorpion, and she had said that one of her friends saw my Jeep at JeepBeats and absolutely fell in love with it. It is now her screensaver on her computer. So I've heard that a lot.
You're gonna have some fans, right? At least the Jeep is. So I did notice you put a post up on your Instagram. Or was it Instagram or whatever about All Girls Garage?
Yeah.
We were there yesterday. So
Oh wow.
Red Scorpion is across the street. So it was kind of cool to go over there. And they actually, Mike, one of Ian's production guys, came over and shot some video of the CTI trailer. On the trail, the podcast, our friends with On the Trail came over, and Kevin was there, and he got to hang out with us for a while, and that was cool. And such a good group. You know, why we do what we do is because of the people that are playing in our industry with us. And we get to go to these shops and meet some just really amazing people that are not only helpful, but they're full of information. They're such good shops, and even if they're not really, there are people that go to these shops and they hang out and they want to get on the CTI trailer, and it's cool to hear their stories and the Jeep clubs that show up and the people that we get to interact with. It's pretty amazing. So yeah, something like that. I had no idea that all of those shows, Two Guys Garage, All Girls Garage, it's all shot down there across the street from where Red Scorpion's at. So
I didn't get to see Bogey. They had already gone, and they were finished shooting when we came over there. So maybe one day.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So I know we actually have a TJ 2501 kit, which is the TJ Overline 6-inch set, including rockers, corners, and that whole the front rear fenders. Basically, we found out on Friday, managed to get it shipped and put together raw metal, because there was no way we're getting powder coated out to them, because we have powder coated allocated to customers. So if you're listening, yes, customers come first. The raw metal set shipped today to be there by Wednesday, so that they can film it on Thursday.
Right.
Oh, we've been trying to get a hold of you.
Yeah, we know how that goes. It's all good.
Yeah, good people. So they're really nice about it. So yeah, it's gonna be on there, get out there and stuff. It'll be fun to see how it happens. Anyway, well, that's cool. So next, we've already kind of gone through your schedule, what you guys have done and everything, but man, it's been so long since we've been chatting. Like we've hardly even touched base. Like, what are you doing? I'm getting ready for JeepBeats. What are you doing? It's like, so what was JeepBeats like this year?
You know, it felt
besides
different.
The weather.
It felt different this year. I don't know why. You know, Charlene and Kurt are such amazing people, and they put together such a large show. I mean, I don't know that traffic felt like it was in years past, but there was some crazy storms and some crazy weather that was going on. In fact, the first day of the vendor show, they didn't start for an hour later because a little microburst had gone through and wrecked about 40 vendors' booths. Ripped the easy ups were airborne and ripped canopies off, and
we had to dry our stuff out.
Yeah, everything was soaking wet, and you know,
man.
And then 2 hours later, you can't even tell there was a storm. You know, the sun comes out, and
until the mid-afternoon when they were announcing the lightning storm that was coming, and for an hour.
So that's never happened in all of the Jeep beaches I've been at, where they announced that the track safety crew announces at the speedway to basically evacuate the speedway.
Wow.
They
Evacuate?
shut everything down.
Shut it, like please seek shelter. There's lightning in the area. Please leave the venue. And it was kind of interesting, this is much like regular life, right? They make that announcement and people are still just walking around going,
what?
I'm not going anywhere.
Well, I think they did it because the day before they had a big storm in Panama and somebody got struck by lightning and died. Right. So they're being extra cautious because the storms have been nuts. We did have Hollywood Beach that night because there was another storm that came in. They had a big water spout. There was tornado warnings all around us, and of course the guys are standing out on the balcony going, "Oh God!" I'm like, "I'm from Oklahoma. This is nothing."
Well, it's funny because my mom lives in Florida now. So when they had the big hurricane go out there through there, just was it late last year, earlier this year? I forget.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
she lives in a trailer park, which is a really nice trailer park right on the water. I mean, and she's thinking like, oh, what do I do? Because it's her first time being out there. And her neighbor's like, oh, nothing. Just so they all had like a little neighborhood block party. Like, and because they know, well, it isn't coming over us, it's over there, right? And she's
Right.
down in the Clearwater area. So it was over there. So they knew from experience that, so that's a lot of it. You're like, yeah, this is nothing. It's like the
No,
first
we
time I
get
was
down to Prodigy. I heard Laura told us that it was pretty bad, the damage down that way. So
Yeah.
we'll get to be in the middle of it.
So even in Daytona, there are some resorts that are still recovering. There was a lot of damage that stormed the end of last year. And it's funny, it's a lot like when a tornado touches down, it's very selective. It only hits certain little areas, and you can have a resort on each side of one that's almost, wiped out, and the one on each side is fine. So yeah, JeepBeats this year, I mean, again, it's always a good event. It's fun to see Jerry, our Mission 22 guy that builds the obstacle course and stuff. Those people are fantastic to work with. And it's one of those events that you have to attend at least once because you see a lot of unique things that we just don't see anywhere else, and a lot of really cool people are down there as well. But I don't know, attendance wise, I'm not sure where it comes in at. And again, I think that the weather played a little bit of a role into that with the evacuate the speedway kind of thing. I think people get a little bit freaked out, but overall,
we started late Friday. We had that hour delay, and then they closed everything down at 3:30. So we were kind of limited on Friday what we could produce.
It was interesting though, because of us putting out our schedule. We had people coming up to the booths and having good conversations, but they were like, "Oh, well, I saw where you're going to be either at Overbuilt or at Beast or Red Scorpion in the next few days. We'll go there. We don't need to fight the line."
Oh, so they don't have to fight the line, or they don't necessarily have to be in, because you have to be a registered member of the event to go into the obstacle course, right? Now, were they charging separate this year for the obstacle course, or?
So, and I haven't verified this, but it's my understanding that it was $50 to go on the obstacle course. So
wow.
Yes, and that's in addition to the entrance. So I'm not sure about that, but that's what somebody had told us, and I don't know if that was good information or not. But we'll find out.
Wow, interesting. Yeah. Well, that sounds like an interesting event. I did hear that you guys did have Bananas Foster.
Yes, we did. I even tagged you in the photo.
I think it was a world record of how fast it went.
Yeah, well, there was
like 5 seconds.
I think we had
Everybody
four.
went,
We had
it was going.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
basically.
6
6 or 7.
spoons, I think. So
yeah, that's a good one for like 3 or 4 people. 6 people is like you're getting a taste. Then you're gonna battle it out. You should have ordered 2.
That's how it went down.
It was good. And we missed you though. Yep, I sent it to you and Becker, and there was some epic past Jeep beaches where the Bananas Foster was definitely probably the highlight of the weekend.
Yeah, it definitely is. Now, did you guys participate in since Mike was out there? Did you guys participate in any of the nighttime events or any of the parties, or was that even that going on this year?
There was, but typically, so we set up at one Daytona this year on Tuesday, which was kind of a block party inside, just an offset of the speedway, over with a bunch of really cool bars and restaurants and shopping and stuff. So they had a live band, and we set up over there and did that one night, and that was cool. It was great to kind of have people walking around that weren't necessarily part of the Jeep Beach program and looking at the Jeeps and stuff. But other than that, we kind of, each night we were pretty much, we'd go get our own dinner and that kind of thing. And we actually cooked inside
I cooked breakfast and I cooked dinner.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Last night we went to Caribbean Jack's and saw my little grandbaby. And
Aw.
So,
did you make Phillip cook it all for you?
No, I told them to sit their butts down and I cooked. So that's just me.
He'll get his chance.
He'll get his chance. Nice. Well, cool. Yeah, I miss one of these days. We'll get back out there, but I am going to see you guys at the end of the month.
Yep.
I think I fly out on Friday. So I'll be there in time for registration, all that stuff. Then I will be there. I'm not driving. I told Jeremy I was going to passenger along with him. So do that, Saturday and Sunday.
Yep.
And I think I have to head out early Monday morning. So I'm going to drive back to Grand Junction Sunday night after dinner and all that. And then I think I got a Motel 6 or something right next to the airport.
Gotcha. Yeah, we were trying to figure out how we were going to pull that off as well. And I think we can leave Monday morning. I have to look at our times. But we're trying to play that same game. So, man, I mean, I can't wait to get back to Moab. It's odd being all the way over here, and it's the weather is so different. I don't know if our camera's fogging up again, but the humidity is a little higher in the last couple of days. And when the wind stops in Florida, it's bad. You want that breeze. You gotta have a breeze.
Yeah,
gotta have it. You know, it's amazing what you've obviously been across this country multiple times, and you know it says a lot to the versatility of man that we can adapt to so many different environments. You think about our biggest cities in this country and where they're located, right? You know, New York City, Detroit, areas they're located where it freezes. Like it freezes in the middle of winter, right? It gets super hot and muggy, and it like man chose this location to build an empire around, and we do it, and we adapt, right? How do we adapt? We adapt with the invention of things like air conditioning, because air conditioning. But then you think back to our parents, and they were driving around in cars where they didn't necessarily have air conditioning, and they're or they didn't necessarily have, or somehow they survived. But we become so conditioned to, like I was talking earlier about CrossFit and showers, right? Like you get so used to a warm, hot like shower because I have plenty of hot water in my house. I can take a long hot shower. And you think back where, well, that was a luxury.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, a hot bath once a week. I'm happy,
we take so much for granted. And I mean, I will say that in the last however long we've been out here, a couple of weeks now, the absolute worst drivers in the country, they are all either down here visiting or on vacation, or they live here. And what's interesting about that comment is even the Floridians will agree that it is the craziest thing how many people are literally in new cars. You know, even though we have Apple CarPlay and with hands-free, and there are signs that still say, don't text and drive. And it is amazing. At a stoplight, you can get to a stoplight and you may only be 10 cars back. It'll turn green, and it's a couple of minutes before the line moves because everybody. So Ricky told us that it is actually legal. This bill that they passed, it's legal to text if you're at a stoplight. I think that's weird, but literally at a stoplight, there'll be 10 people in cars like this.
Or driving.
That is better than getting a ticket for sitting at a stoplight and holding your phone, which is what happens in California, right? If you're at a stoplight and you pick up your phone and you look at it, you don't have to be doing anything with it. You can get a ticket for that at a stoplight.
That's interesting.
Granted that, you still people do that. And what are they doing? They're not just doing that. They're doing scrolling and looking and scrolling, right?
Taking selfies while they're driving.
But it is like, I don't know.
I don't understand. I still don't understand when people are talking on their phone. How come they have to drive and they have to hold the phone up to their mouth,
right?
And talk like that? These new cars, it turns out they have hands free. Like you can Bluetooth to most any radio now.
Well, but that requires you to understand how to program your VCR too.
It's true.
You got to put it in there and actually have to connect it, which you can't do while you're driving. If you forget to do it if you get in your car and you start your car and start driving, you're screwed because you can't do it while you're driving. You got to pull over to the side of the road, or you can just stop at a stoplight and then have people honking at you as you're trying to connect your phone.
Yeah, hold on. I need to finish this text and then I'll go in the light. It's already red again.
Everywhere.
It's crazy. The driving out here, there's no paying attention and they don't care at all. They will cut you off. They'll go through a red light. It doesn't matter. They'll stop at a green light. It's crazy. We've driven through a lot of places in the last couple of weeks. It's like you better be on your game. And there's wrecks all over the place every day. And because nobody cares. I mean, it's weird. Yeah. I don't know how to fix that.
Yeah. Well, you can't fix stupid.
Hey, let's talk about the industry.
Oh, yes. Well, let's talk about not fixing stupid. So a little background. Everybody knows, because we've talked about it on this show, some past episode, that some time ago, first off, there's a great big company. Let's go back in the history. I'll play like this is an acquired episode.
There you go.
Sometime back in the history, a man named George started a little company. He started a little store called Four Wheel Parts, and he built up that company and had multiple stores and multiple things. And they bought a website, 4wp.com, and they built in that. And then his son Greg took over the company, and they had some different things like Bear Stearns bought him out at one point, and this big company called Transamerican, and it was a good thing. And then the economy happened and they had an opportunity to buy it back. So they bought it back from Bear Stearns and I don't know all the financial details, but then one day somebody from Polaris came over and had a great idea, because Polaris had a lot of cash because, the UTV market was just growing and growing and growing. So they had a ton of cash. And what do you have when you have a company in cash? You got to spend that money. You got to spend that money or else people look at you and they actually get negative stock growth if you ain't spending your money. So what did they do? They bought Transamerican. Now, all of us thought that was an interesting idea, because what do you buy when you're buying Transamerican and Four Wheel Parts and all these stores and all these brands? Because at that time, the brands were like Poison Spyder, Pro Comp, Rubicon Express, and all of these brands that had built up, many of which had been bought, like Poison Spyder, Rubicon Express, when they were kind of a distressed state, right? And so they got a really good deal on them, and they built up these brands. Well, they bought them all. And we thought they really were buying a distribution network as a way of getting more Polarises out there. But apparently it didn't really work. They built some warehouses. They built one in Fernley and a couple others across the country. They worked on that whole side of it. But if you go back to like the Poison Spyder website, and even today, that Poison Spyder website is the exact same website that our buddy Dusty built way back when, before it even got bought. And they also decimated all the higher ups. It was about a year or so into it. All of a sudden, everybody that was key within these companies kind of got fired and replaced by Polaris folk. Well, Polaris is what it is, and they did it over time. Well, one day they turned around and said, and we heard the rumors were that it was for sale. Well, it turns out it was for sale, and the whole Transamerican kit and caboodle was sold to a company called Wheel Pros. Now, who are Wheel Pros? Well, Wheel Pros, they're some guys who started making and selling wheels, and they were just selling wheels. And then next thing you know, Wheel Pros owns almost every major wheel brand made in America, right? And all these different wheel brands. And they started buying. What else did they buy? They bought our buddies over at Terraflex. They bought our buddies at ReadyLift. And they bought a bunch of other different companies. So they bought Transamerican. We went, oh, shoot. Because what did that mean? It was going to be the biggest company in the industry. Wheel Pro, Transamerican, a Gorilla. And then it all starts going to heck, because, and this is where I don't understand.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Because where are we at now? This is the kind of the big thing that nobody's really talked about, because one of the things they haven't really done is like done big press releases on stuff. But we all have it, guys, on good authority that Rubicon Express as a brand is dead. Pro Comp as a brand is dead. Poison Spyder as a brand is dying. Rumors are it won't be around, but it's not being built up. ReadyLift, because they already own that, is going to be kind of their primary brand. And it's almost like they bought the brands so that they could kill off competition. The first thing they did was just kill Transamerican. So the entire Transamerican distribution network was killed. All the stores and all the warehouses were sold to Myers, or some of the warehouses were sold to Myers. All the inventory went to Myers. Great guys over at Myers, by the way. They call us all the time about wanting carry us, and we appreciate that they're persistent and appreciate that they're nice about it. But Myers is a great company. But anyway, buys all that inventory. They start closing down the Southern California offices where everything was at. As of the end of, I think it's the end of this month, or I think it was the end of this month.
End of May.
End of April. Yeah, end of May.
End of May.
Everything's shut down there. All the engineering offices, everything is shut down in Southern California. Which that's where ProCop is being made. I mean, all that stuff. So all that's gone. ProCop is dead. Rubicon Express is dead. Transamerican's dead. The four-wheel parts stores are being distributed off. So you have some stores still exist. Greg Adler, who he's with ORW now. He bought ORW and he's built it up, and I think he's got like 13 stores, including one in Reno. We just participated in the grand opening with. And there's a Toys for Trucks up in North America. They're out of Michigan, Minnesota.
Yeah, something up there.
Yeah, and they bought a bunch of the 4 parts stores, including all of Canada. And so I'm using the term bought. I don't actually know how the deals went down. They are now running the stores. They are branded Toys for Trucks. There's a group out in your neck of the woods on the East Coast that I think has like 12 or 13 that just kind of popped up.
Yeah. And I don't know what the structure of those the ownership level is, or how it happened, and I'll be looking into that as we spend some more time out here. But I mean, what a crazy thing! Like we're G2, some of these brands, Smittybilt's brand, like all of this stuff. It's like you said, it's like somebody went, you know what? We acquired all this stuff pretty at a deal. They got a way discounted purchase of all of this, almost in order to just bury some of these brands. And it's kind of crazy. That's a lot. Those are some huge names.
Right. And Rubicon Express, I mean, it is we have several guys here that are from the Rubicon Express because they were a Sacramento, Northern California company. Obviously they're called Rubicon Express. What do? They were right off the Rubicon Trail, right? That's where it all came from. Our head of digital and video marketing, Scott Becker, was their head of marketing. Justin McMurray, our plant manager, was their plant manager. It's like we kept some people around, but an iconic brand like that now is gone. But the numbers don't add up, because you would think that they would take them and maybe break them off like a green mailer would, right? Back in the day, the good old fashioned corporate raiders, buy something and break it into a bunch of pieces, because I guarantee there's somebody out there who would have been willing to buy Rubicon Express.
Absolutely.
We looked into, the funny thing was when the thing happened and all of a sudden we get a rumor, there's a rumor out there, literally people posting on the net that MetalCloak bought Poison Spyder. So I reached out to the corporate development people at Wheel Pros and said, hey, well, there's a rumor that we bought Poison Spyder, so we might as well talk about it. And we had no interest in the products. Let's be frank. The products they're good products, but not what we do. They're just a different design of products. Different. So we had no interest in the products, but I was interested in the brand because, Poison Spyder was selling $20,000 to $30,000 in apparel, just a brand. I mean, Poison Spyder, it's cool. So we started talking about it, and it just wasn't going anyplace. So it was like, not worth it. G2, we looked at G2's numbers because we thought they had no idea what they wanted to do with G2. And I thought, well, axle business would be cool. Now they've kind of buried G2 into Terraflex, which really meant we're going to bury G2 because we only want to sell Terraflex axles.
Right.
And you have support, but then there's not really support of Terraflex either. My understanding is like they're not really trying to build the Terraflex brand. They do want to build the Falcon brand and make that, but they're not really supporting. I don't know. I mean, you might have more insight on the Terraflex side. I think you're a little closer to that group over there.
Yeah, and what we're, of course, initially it was all rumor, and nobody was saying anything. And I know there's going to be a bunch of changes. And I don't know what that means for our friends. There's already been some changes at some of these places, and it's unfortunate. We don't like to see anybody go away. But you start doubling up when all of these were acquired. I remember when we talked about, Bestop and Tuffy and Baja Designs, PRP seats, that's all the same company. And we talked about how come you guys aren't sharing a marketing person, like one marketing guy, you could co-brand or be involved at what they're doing and kind of play the game together and share those resources. But that doesn't appear to be what's going on. And there's a lot of really good people out there that have been with these brands for years and years and years, and we've seen them kind of go off and do other things. But man, the industry, the evolution of what we're seeing now is, I don't know, after the last couple of COVID years we've had and the industry changes and Jeep changing and electrification of all of these vehicles, and there's so much going on. And a couple of folks had made the comments to us is, from a manufacturing standpoint, how does anybody keep up? And it's very difficult. And people, though, are now understanding, oh my gosh, yeah, how many skid plates do you guys make? Yeah, a lot.
Right.
Because there's so many variations. So these smaller companies then that are trying to play the game and keep up, how can you? There's a whole lot of reasoning that goes into why some companies are still just making TJ, LJ stuff and kind of going, yep, this is what we're going to do. That's going to be our focus. But at the end of that runs its course. It becomes like the XJ and the CJ, right? I mean, there's very few people out there. Now everybody's gone to a JK. Now we're running the course with the JKs, and what about the JLs and the JTs? And how is that going to be another 2 years before those evolve and change again, and we see another model? And
well, we're already seeing that here with this. Like we're probably gonna like we talk about, the best thing to do with your 4xe is to have it for a short period of time and trade it in. So we've had it, we've R&D'd on it, we've played with it. Now it's time to trade it in. So I think we're trading that in for the 2024, because the 2024 is going to be so different that we got to get a 2024 JL, because the number of variations or the differences on the 2024 is huge. So
yeah,
we got to add that to our fleet, right? But so it is, but it's going back to this, like what is the future going to be like if a company can come in like Wheel Pros, which I guess there's a lot of money in wheels because that's their primary source, and makes changes. What's going on?
The horses were running around, and they're loud when they.
Oh, there's horses too. Oh wow, horses outside.
5 of them.
Wow. So it's going in and just basically shutting down brands. Now, I don't know the economics behind it. I looked at some of the numbers. I was kind of surprised by the numbers we saw for G2. There were some things that we were like, oh, interesting. Like they weren't doing what we would have expected to them to be doing. And so maybe they look at it and go, yeah, it's not worth the economics to try to have a separate manufacturing facility or a separate thing. Maybe when you're part of this, like one of the things that happened as well with all the 4-wheel parts stores is that guys, when the 4-wheel parts had Transamerica, they primarily bought all their parts. Every 4-wheel parts store bought their stuff through Transamerica and through the distribution that they had, and they bought brands. Now these 4-wheel parts are somewhat independent. They all have credit cards. They go down to Napa, they buy their parts, or they call MetalCloak and they buy their parts. So if you are going to a 4-wheel parts store now, like before, you couldn't get MetalCloak at 4-wheel parts because we wouldn't sign them up because we didn't want to be a part of Transamerican. We absolutely refused to be a part of that distribution network. But now you can go down to 4-wheel parts, and 4-wheel parts would say, hey, yeah, we can do it. Now, they're not on our map. We're not, hit my mic. They're not on a map. We're not going to sit here and advocate, because I don't know enough about who is running the 4-wheel parts store to say that this was a good one or this is a bad one. There are some good stores, and we're friends with some of the stores, but you can now actually buy MetalCloak parts there. How? You just go in there and ask for it. And then they contact us and say, hey, we want to place an order, and they do whatever. And individual stores can sign up with us across the country. Other stores now, what we're starting to see are the ramifications of all this. Okay. Rubicon Express as a brand being gone. When Rubicon Express closed in 2011, they were closed for about 3 months. During that time, BDS, saw a huge rise. Rusty's saw a huge rise. Terraflex saw a rise. We saw a rise. It was less for us because we didn't have some of the historic stuff, like all the YJ stuff that Rubicon Express used to make. When they closed, we would refer people over to BDS because BDS had a great YJ setup. I don't even know if they still carry that, but they had good leaf springs for YJ and all that. And that was so it was a huge boost for them, right? To be able to start being able to sell those parts. But now it just can be a glut, right? And then with Terraflex being controlled somewhat by Wheel Pros, meaning that they don't necessarily have, and our friends over at Terraflex, God bless you, but we're feeling like, and what we're hearing is that you guys are kind of, your arms are being a little restrained on what you can do for customer service, what you can do for care, and what you can do for product development. Now, it's interesting, and I'll bring this up because I ran across this and realized it was a video that they had done. And now I got to find it. And let's see. While you're talking, I'm gonna bring this up.
Yeah, I know that we were told that from folks that were shops that are ordering and have had relationships with Terraflex. Now those orders actually go through Wheel Pros, and that's a break in the relationship there. So I think that people are kind of a little bit like, well, how is this going to work? I have a relationship with Terraflex. Now I've got to go through Wheel Pros, and the sales reps, a couple of them are still at Terraflex, and they're taking your order, but then it's having to get placed through Wheel Pros. It's got Wheel Pros information on the POs and that kind of thing. So I don't know. It kind of makes just a big mess of stuff where people get pretty set in their ways, where it's easy to do business. They're familiar with the processes, and now it's a whole new process.
It's frustrating a lot of people.
Yeah.
So this is what I was looking for. Terraflex 3 months ago released a video for a brand called Altera, Alltera, Altera Performance. And really it was for the other stuff other than Jeep, and with the primary focus being on the Bronco line, right? So that big video, our buddy Dennis is all over that video. His voice is there, and it looks like a well done video, and they released that 3 months ago. And then if you go to their website or you try to look up Altera, you go to altera.com. That is see what comes up now. It's parked. So you go to Terraflex.com and you type in a search for Altera. It comes up with, oh, did you mean that? Nope, not there. That's not there. If you do a search for Terraflex Altera, you get Altera Performance as a page on Terraflex, which is there, but no videos available. There's no products really to see. It's kind of a thing. And if you click on see products, it goes to a 404 page. So beautiful video done 3 months ago, and it's absolutely dead on the site. Like there's nothing. Like, there's no support for this brand that they worked hard to develop. And that's the kind of things you see when corporate overseers start owning a company. You might have had a vision that the owners of Terraflex and the corporate, the managers of Terraflex, the guys who've been there, been trying to develop over time, and it just gets its head cut off.
That's right. Yeah.
And if they're doing it at that level, where else are they doing it? And that's the challenge,
Yeah. And I mean, that's a prime example of how fast things are moving right now, where, that was just 3 months ago. And now, well, maybe that's something, maybe it's not. And it's tough. We have a lot of friends in the industry, and we don't want to see bad things happen to anybody. And competition is good for us. It's good for all of us. It keeps everybody on their toes. It keeps us all honest. And, when things start to go away like that, it's not good. I mean, it's, at the end, in the back of our minds, I know we go, yeah, this is great. We're going to, be really busy. You know what? We're really busy now, and things are going really well now. So what kind of disruption does this create across the country when, certain folks go, hey, I can't get this anymore. I can't get that anymore. What about the warranty? Who did I buy this from? Oh, those stores are gone, or it's a big mess.
Right. And that's not, what are you going to do? And people like having their support. I mean, at MetalCloak, I'll admit it, we benefit from the fact that sometimes people want one single brand or all around their Jeep.
That's right.
Because they appreciate one product, and because of that one product working successfully, they want to do it all, and then they discover as they add more products to us. So, but I do want to say that those independent companies that haven't been selling out, whether it's on other side, like whether it's uh, um, uh, our buddies over at Rock Crawler, ourselves, it's hard to even think of who's independent anymore, right? I think
Right.
Clayton's still independent, right? Rusty's is still independent. Jen Wright's still independent. Independent relatively speaking. I think he's like, in debt to somebody. But on the Dodge side, Thurin is still independent, right? So you have the consolidation happening, right? All the big companies, all the other companies are out there doing innovation. Icon, Carly, Terraflex. They're all just being sucked up. And Dynatrack, right? And we've talked about all these changes happening before, where these are companies that had great products and good people, and you can't disparage them when it's an independent selling. That's one thing. When independent like Jim sells Dynatrack, he has a reason for it. He's not a dumb guy, so he didn't just get hoodwinked, and he wasn't upside down on the company. He was able to make a good deal that made sense for him and his family and his future, while also being able to continue to do what he loves. Right.
Well, we were talking with a gentleman down in Fort Lauderdale area at California Sport Trucks, and he's been in business for 33, 34 years, something like that. And it comes up again and again as we all get older and we go to some of these shops, and these guys have been around for a long time, and they're full of information, full of knowledge. And then these guys at some point go, you know what? I think I'm out. I'm done. I worked my whole life. I built this business. I'm going to go now. I'm going to sit on the beach or travel with my grandkids or whatever the case may be. But we're losing this knowledge and some of the mindset of the old school guys. When we're all gone, this next generation over the next 5, 10, who knows, 15 years, the evolution, and if you remember, Matson Payway had said a couple years ago to us that Jeep's kind of goal was to really keep all of our hands out of the engine bays from changing things. Like they wanted to control that, since they have to abide by a whole bunch of standards. The general public, us, should have to maintain those standards too. But SEMA does a good job of fighting for our rights and our ability to make changes in the aftermarket industry and all of that. But again, I mean, at some point, when we stop fighting the fight and 10 years goes by and we stop paying attention, man, all of a sudden we open the engine bay compartment and it's got security screws and the whole, you break the tape and it's all on you.
Right.
Could be interesting.
It is, and there's a big market that exists. There's been a lack of appreciation, which I think is interesting, and this has definitely been with the JL cycle. When the JK came out, we've talked about this before. When the JK came out, they actually invited the industry to come out and do their measurements and be able to get some pre-looks of the vehicle. When the JL came out, it was completely secret. Nobody had access except for a few key people or maybe big companies. But we didn't even get CAD drawings. Like everything we did was scanning to test, to credit create, so we could do our engineering. And that was done by design because of the desire of the head of Mopar to make Mopar the number one accessory offering. And it didn't work out, because you want to be the number one accessory offering, make good accessories. And they didn't. They made crappy stuff, which is unfortunate. So that crappy stuff ended up being, things. There's plenty of customers that call us up, say, I had the Mopar 3.5 inch or 2.5 inch lift. I want to replace it with MetalCloak. Okay. It happens all the time. I bought it from the factory. It happens. So make good products, you can have the win. They didn't make good products. And it was interesting because a tweet just came out from Elon Musk today, or something like that. I think it was yesterday, saying that the Cybertruck, as they're starting to roll out and actually break ground and get the Cybertruck manufactured, which is something like 1.5 million people have put down $100 to get their Cybertruck, that it's going to have plenty, quote unquote, plenty of mounting points for accessories, right? So the whole idea that you can, and there's already people like, give me CAD drawings, or more appropriately, since these are not like engineer types, are there public? I literally saw a text. Are there public engineering drawings available so that we can start working on that? Yeah, buddy, you're the one who's going to get that because you need that file. You're going to get it and go, I'm going to open it up in Illustrator. So but yeah, at least there's a point where like, hey, I'm making this rig. People are going to like it. I want you guys to make stuff for you, right?
Right.
The old Scion idea, like we're making this thing. We want you guys to make stuff. Whereas Jeep's kind of like, yeah, there's too much. But think about this. You guys are going cross country, visiting shops who, for their most part, make most of their living on upgrading Jeeps. And there are thousands of those shops across this country. Can you think of anything else where an entire business, an entire life, a good living can be made upgrading a single model vehicle?
It's crazy. I mean, it is just crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't exist with I just had a buddy of ours come over here who has a shop and he does Defenders, Land Rover Defenders. He can do it, but it's not a whole industry built around it. There's only a few of those, right? You name a vehicle, and there are a few shops that specialize in just building maybe they build a nice Mercedes or whatever, but for a single model vehicle, a Jeep, open top Jeep, to be able to build an entire life around that, and for companies like myself, Terraflex, Rockcrawler, to make a living off of selling stuff for that single Jeep, it's incredible. And instead of fighting it, Jeep should be embracing it. Right? Look at the economic impact our brand has had. Look at, guys, this is the economic impact. There are 1,000 shops out there, mom and pop shops, bringing in $250,000 a year of economic, plus buying parts. There's 50 companies out there doing $10+ million a year in selling parts. For like, start adding those up, the economic impact over a decade is just incredible.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's I can't think of any other thing that has the support of, it's crazy. I mean, other than, maybe Apple or Samsung or something like that, where, everybody has one of these in their hand, and then you have to have a case for it. But
an app
accessories,
store.
Yeah, all of that. I mean, the apps for it, all of it. It's very similar to Jeep. It's that cult type following, like Harley Davidson. It's those iconic brands. Where
maybe you're right. Motorcycle is a good example of another one where motorcycle shops are probably exist across the country that do upgrades and stuff that are not just the Harley. That's probably a good example of another one that exists.
But there's no I don't know, maybe the van guys are becoming more and more part of this industry, but I don't know anybody that just works and modifies Toyota Camrys or
whatever,
not
as many, right? I'm sure there are.
Sure,
there's the Toyota build guys. There's obviously some
sure.
It still is amazing to me. It's amazing to me that we haven't even touched the surface, right?
That's right.
What's available. Wow. That's it is interesting. So what it comes down to, guys, is Rubicon Express is going, and the only reason we're talking about this is we had somebody recently reach out, and they were actually saying like, well, thinking about MetalCloak or Poison Spyder fenders. I'm kind of like, well, listen, good company, but you may not have support from them in 3 months. Whatever the timeline is going to be, like, it doesn't make sense, unfortunately, to. It's like if a bank is going to be failing, why do you put money in it? It doesn't make any sense to be supporting a company that isn't going to be around anymore, because they're not going to be there to. They're not going to be there to help you or have any sort of customer service for you to say replacement parts. It's kind of like when we bought Cargo Master Safari. Like, we only bought a couple of their product lines, it's unfortunate that we don't have all the parts and accessories for everybody who bought anything from them from 1982
Right.
until 2020, because all that's gone.
Yeah.
You know, it's gone. And if you were part of that previous brand, you know, so I don't know. It's an interesting world we're in.
It is for sure. And we're just got to be thankful for what we do have going on, and kind of embrace that, and not get so caught up in the the sky is falling kind of mentality. I think that, all the shops we've been to, things are extremely busy, and some of these shops are having record months and record years. And there's still a lot of very motivated people out there, and there's still a lot of Jeepers out there that are brand new, and they haven't wheeled a lot of places, and they want to go wheel, and they want to get out, and they want to travel. And I saw things in the news this morning that they're saying that travel industry is going crazy again, and people want to get out, and they want to do stuff. They want to have experiences. So luckily for us, we're part of that game. So
I want to send my kids out for experiences. Anybody want to take them for a month? I'm not kidding.
It's pretty quiet over here. Even the birds got quiet for a minute.
Oh no, I'm offering it up to our wide audience. Like, I'm not kidding. You only want to take on 3 kids for a month? They'll be yours. They're great slaves. I mean, not really, because they don't actually listen. So, and if anybody's followed us, you know exactly what our kids are like. Yeah, they don't even like summer camp for a month. I can't wait till they're old enough to go off to summer camp. Be gone for 2 weeks at summer camp. Yes.
Right.
Currently, we do like day camps. I got to drop them off in the morning and pick them up at noon. Yeah, they get kind of tired there. That's fine, but that's about the only thing they do other than hop them up on sugar. All right. Anyway, I'm off on another tangent. Well, this is great. It's been great. Kind of. Oh, there you go. Got the do. I can't do any of that anymore. Like, I can't do the do. I can't do, like, I'm like so restricted. Like, I'm drinking like bone broth for dinner, like, and I have to go straight paleo, like, no sugars and stuff like that. Long story as to why it is, and we'll talk about that offline. But yeah, I'm just like I just can't do all the fun stuff anymore.
We're getting old.
I had a little cheesecake with for Joshua's birthday. Like, I go with cheesecake and a little chocolate sauce, and and the end result was about 4 a.m. I was in pain. And so,
we're still fighting her migraine / sinus issues. Every time the weather change or anything, it's it's I don't know.
It was murder. It's just murder.
Yeah, that's getting older is just no fun.
You just got to be driving in your Jeep all the time, because that's the best therapy. I bet it all goes away when you're in your Jeep about going up a waterfall. It just all goes away.
Yeah, how much of that stuff exists in here?
Just
wheels
put it in
turning.
a loop. Like, get you stuck in a loop.
That's the case.
Right.
Get you stuck in a loop. Well, hey, great. I know you guys got a lot going on. Glad we were finally able to get together and do an episode.
Definitely.
Are we getting together next week? Or are you abandoning?
Yeah, we're gonna be headed to
Jeep Jam.
Yeah, we're headed to Jeep Jam, I think, on Monday, to get there by Tuesday. So let's think about that. And I think we should be okay.
Okay. All right, just let me know. Otherwise, by the way, everybody, thank you so much. Great feedback on Will's episode last week. And if you didn't check his video out about the giveaway that he did for his best friend, you check it out, his Venture to Rome. It really been a great overall experience for him and for his friend, and just the feedback from everybody has been awesome. So again, when you're thinking about doing something, if you want to do something with MetalCloak, think about others, not yourself, because everybody thinks about themselves, and we get 1,000 requests a day for do something for me.
Yeah, right.
Rarely do we get a request like, hey, can you do something for this person? Like, I want to do something for that person. Like, it's so different.
Turns out that's really what it is all about, and we wouldn't know it from social media these days, but he did a good job with that. So
he did a great job. All right, Modern Jeepers, another great episode. Thank you for joining us. Glad to have Corey and Jessy back, and hopefully we can keep them around and at least for a few more episodes. A few more episodes. A few more. Especially like we got to know what this Artemis rally is gonna be like. I need you to like you need to be like documenting yourself the whole time, and we'll turn that into an episode. Just little.
You mean my
GoPro
bruises on my arm from shooting the bow and arrow? And...
yeah. Just more like when you guys are in the car, like have the GoPro set up for one to drive, and just don't even think about it. Right, you're just going and talking and doing whatever you're doing, and then we'll take all that and splice it together into a cool.
Heck yeah!
Cool episode. That'd be awesome.
They have a Zoom conference call tonight to get some more information. So
we'll record that. You can do a whole like video build up and all this stuff build up. Obviously, you've already built the rig and you did document some of that, so. It could be a cool little documentary of the build up, the rig, the conversations, the Zoom calls, like just you document all that stuff in. It'd be cool.
Right on.
All right. Well, Modern Jeepers, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Modern Jeeper Show. You know how to go to Corey, Jessy, and me. It's all Corey at MetalCloak, Jessy at MetalCloak, and Matson at MetalCloak.com. Anything else you care to share or with all of us before we end this episode?
No, sir. I think we're good, and look forward to the upcoming events, and check out CTI Tour, MetalCloak CTI Tour on socials, and we'll see you at the next event.
Absolutely. And by the way, if anybody out there has like a great plugin or recommends a plugin for managing event calendars where we're going to be within our framework, and our framework is specifically Magento, let us know, because we're trying to build that in so that we can actually have a better framework for people to be able to track where Corey and Jessy are going next. All right. That being said, we're out of here. See you on the trails.
Cheers.
See ya.